Much of the municipal complex here has been taped off by police while they continue their investigation. If I step out of the way here, you can see this building right here. This is building 2, and this is where those lives were taken so tragically. I reached out to him on Twitter to clarify, to make sure, and he said yes, he is not planning at all to file articles of impeachment today. Here's the reasoning why. So it kind of sounds like a big version of one of those bank drive-through tube machines, except instead of sending money, you're sending people, even cargo. And just before the day turned deadly, there was a lot of violence at the Unite the Right rally. Brendan King has more from demonstrators on both sides of the issue. Right now we're seeing some rain, definitely some wind come into play here as well. In the meantime, I figured I'd just sit here on this park bench. The only problem is I had to put on some rain boots to get here. Yes, the Charles Creek here behind me, certainly wider than it's supposed to be right now. Well, instead of telling you, why don't I just show you here with this makeshift hockey puck. We're gonna see how far this goes down the street. Give you an idea of just how big this tree is. I'm about 5'11", and even on the ground, the base is right around my height, and it's that main trunk that fell right on top of the house. News 3 staying on top of this story today. 2 Wisconsin grandparents are on their way to Virginia Beach to pick up their grandson. Police say he was kidnapped by his own mother. And they already have security measures in place to get into the dorms. You need to have your ID to get through the locked door, but because of these thefts, they've also added increased police patrol. Okay, listen, Barbara, your OBX family is praying for you. That's just one message of the dozens of messages being left here. Hey, good morning. I always love when I gotta plug my ear. It means the guys behind me are hype. And the Red Rippers, they're pretty hyped up this morning. They're happy to be our squadron of the month. Check them out. Police officer Eddie Rodriguez tells me he sees it all the time. People in public places, unaware of their surroundings, unknowingly turning themselves into a target. He says depending on where you are, there are some simple tweaks you can make to up your awareness and in turn your safety. We're here. We're going to try this dancing again. This is the Icariotico, right? All right, so let's go over. What do we got to do?
Lean, 1, 2, 3, around.
Minneapolis Convention Center, a great time, thousands of people there, a lot of locals. Some people, though, traveled hundreds of miles, thousands of miles. Fans say they're excited to unwind before the game with other fans and maybe shoot a little hoops. Oh, a new location and better preparation for the infamous Floatopia event. This is what it looked like today on the beach in Norfolk's Ocean View area.
How to do it, oh God. Yes.
A circle of people praying for answers.
Show us how to act, oh God.
Over on this sign, a dozen roses. These 2 powerful tributes on either side of the Virginia Beach Municipal Complex, some of the first this morning, honoring 12 lives taken.
My thoughts initially was anger, but you know why? Why?
Show us how to see the signs.
Shalia Cook says her pastor at Mount Olive Baptist Church asked that she and the others took their Saturday prayer ministry to city grounds.
It's too much. It's too much killings going on.
A city employee herself, we spoke with Cook soon after yesterday's shooting. Back out this morning, the emotions are raw, a mixture of grief and gratitude.
If it had happened 10 minutes later, me and my colleagues would have been coming out of the building, not knowing what was occurring over here.
Cook says she works here in building 10A. The shooting happened here at building 2. Cook says she not only knows people who work in this building, she knows people who didn't make it out yesterday.
I lost friends and family, close church members. I cannot disclose the names right now because I want to give them time to prepare for what they have to face next.
12 families forced to bury their loved ones. A city left to figure out how to even begin healing following its most violent day. In Virginia Beach, Anthony Sabella, News 3.
14 felonies, overdosed over 8 times, tried to commit suicide twice. I felt like a prisoner to my addiction.
Tonight begins a new chapter for Chelsea Jones, where the 27-year-old from Suffolk steps back into the real world, graduating from 13 years of drug use.
I was 14. It started with prescription pills and then quickly went to heroin. I think that I had some depression. I didn't really fit in school. My mom growing up was an addict.
Run-ins with the law, broken relationships, and failed attempts to get clean followed, despite her becoming a mother 4 years ago. It wasn't until her last stay in jail, Jones says her aunt suggested trying something faith-based.
It was kind of peaceful when I first got here.
Jones walked into the Youth Challenge of Hampton Roads Women's Home in downtown Newport News a year ago. The end of a year where the National Institute on Drug Abuse says U.S. overdose deaths hit 70,000.
Ready for change the day she came here.
Despite its name, Youth Challenge helps adults break their addictions, requiring them to live away from their families an entire year.
We are God-centered.
Just pay attention to the syllabus.
It's 3 phases, starting with months of classroom work, then self-study, and finally transitioning back into society. We met Chelsea earlier this month, 2 weeks before graduating. Are you nervous at all?
Absolutely, because I've never successfully lived a life outside of addiction.
But this time is different. Jones finds support everywhere, starting with her new job at a local small business.
Chelsea's actually my embroiderer.
She met her boss, Sharon Owens, by chance when Owens happened to drop by the women's home on a whim.
I would always see young ladies sitting on a porch.
And asked if anybody needed a job. I have quite a record. It didn't even, faze her.
People need a second chance. Just because they're a convicted felon, that doesn't make them a bad person.
Now, Chelsea's still working on getting her driver's license, but getting from home to work isn't a problem. Because it's right down the street.
She's been awesome ever since. Dependable, happy.
It's a job Chelsea plans to keep on top of staying at Youth Challenge, assisting her mentor, Sandy Shaw, and helping others break free.
It's very emotional. It's just very exciting to see what God has done in her life.
It's that newfound faith that keeps her on track, she says. That and the little boy whose pictures cover her room.
I have a 4-year-old son that is, the light of my life, and I know now that I'm going to be a good mother. My mom's clean now. My dad and me, we just have a relationship that we've never had before.
Each step across that graduation stage, another step away from a dark past.
I really didn't feel like I would ever be more than a heroin addict. I believe that, I'm worth something now.
In Newport News, Anthony Sabella, News 3.
He just wants to please people.
He's a head turner.
He is unique.
He is Bud, and he lives at Naval Station, Norfolk.
Good.
One of the newest military working dogs on base.
Just signed in January.
If you're thinking Bud doesn't look like other military canines, you'd be right. Yes, his breed is one of the most popular around, but Bud is truly one of a kind.
He's the only golden retriever in the Navy. And believe it or not, he is young and he's a different dog, but he's one of the best dogs we have in our kennel.
MA1 Dustin Tyler was the first to handle Bud, who was scouted by the Navy just last year. Tyler says they look at things like temperament and drive.
And I took a shot with him, and he actually turned out to be a great pick.
Spending months working on detection, the safety of the base and the people on it falls on this cold nose, which spends a lot of time searching cars.
He's looking for things that are not allowed on base.
If Bud finds something, his handler says he'll give a signal.
From that point, I'll act accordingly, depending on what he's doing.
When not searching, they work on obedience.
Stay.
And yeah, Bud gets paid for his work in tennis balls.
Come on, buddy.
Bud gets paid every day because Bud works hard every day. Bud, sit. Good boy.
We've tried other toys with him, and tennis ball's his thing, and he'll do anything for it.
At the end of the day, though, he's still a dog.
Nope.
A 2-year-old golden retriever at that, who loves to play.
His temperament's a lot different, so I've definitely had to adjust from what I've been used to with the other breeds like German Shepherds. I think he has a happier demeanor.
But that happy-go-lucky attitude doesn't hold Bud back. Out of 17 working dogs in the Naval Station kennels, he just might lead the pack.
I'd put my bet on him to save lives.
Maybe the goodest boy on base.
Sit.
And he just happens to be golden. At Naval Station Norfolk, Anthony Sabella, News 3.